The article I chose is Redistricting and Representation, Drawing Fair Election Districts Instead of Manipulated Maps by Liz Kennedy, Billy Corrier, and Danielle Root. The article is from the Center for American Progress organization and was published on December 5th, 2016. The article talks about how politicians in many states have manipulated election districts to choose their voters rather than having voters choose them. The Center for American Progress recommends 3 solutions. 1. Establish independent redistricting commissions. 2. Ensure clear redistricting criteria. And 3. Promote public input and transparency in their redistricting processes. Gerrymandering reduces voters' abilities to elect who they want, and representation is diminished. Following the 2010 midterm elections, many states, such as Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio, were heavily gerrymandered in the GOP's favor, even in instances where Democrats got a majority of the vote. Through the gerrymandering process, politicians can make it almost impossible for some districts to be competitive. It can also make lawmakers less receptive to the country at large, as they only have to worry about primaries and appealing to their voter base. One scholar explained, when a party gerrymanders a state, it tries to maximize the wasted votes for the opposing party while minimizing its own, thus producing a large efficiency gap. The Kennedy et al. Article continues by talking about how gerrymandered maps have been challenged in states like North Carolina, Virginia, Alabama, Arizona, Texas, Wisconsin, Florida, and Maryland. Some states have established independent redistricting commissions, created clear legal guidelines for drawing district maps, and opening the process up to the voters to attempt to reduce gerrymandering and increase representation. Some states that established independent redistricting commissions, like California and Arizona, have a more transparent process rather than partisan politicians with a lot of power. States that ensure clear redistricting criteria includes barring consideration of party affiliation and voting records and maintaining communities of interest and neighborhoods when possible. Other states that have prioritized transparency and public input have proposed public hearings on proposed district plans or by allowing voters to submit their own proposed plans. Many states are still in control by elected officials who put the interests of their party before the interests of their constituency, and the redistricting process desperately needs to be reformed. In my analysis, gerrymandering has damaged the electorate's trust in their political institutions and has led to disenfranchisement. In the 2006 Mann reading, Mann argues that gerrymandering has reduced competition and makes incumbents less responsive to voters. There's reason to believe gerrymandering is a symptom of polarization. Mann concludes that gerrymandering reinforces polarization and decreases competition at the margins, but is not a leading cause of polarization. There is evidence that gerrymandering is not the main cause of the lack of responsiveness from elected officials. Polarization has occurred in the Senate and between periods of redistricting. Geographic sorting means it is difficult to draw competitive districts regardless of the method of redistricting. Gerrymandering has exposed a larger problem with our country where there is very little cooperation. Something the article that I chose and the Mann 2006 reading have in common is the theme that we have less and less cooperation in our society and in our political system and far more competition. The actions taken in some Western states to reduce gerrymandering and bring about fairer maps are a step in the right direction but are not enough. The root of the problem is the polarization in the United States and the inability for Americans to work with each other to create a better, fairer world. The cultural clash in the United States between urban and rural America has led to people's votes being threatened by unfair maps and a compromised political system. The Man Reading and the Redistricting and Representation article align on many different points, but Mann puts more emphasis on political polarization being the true cause of political disenfranchisement in the United States.